Week 5 Etude is really all about trying to get you to play expressively. It's not any really majorly challenging rhythms or anything, but it's all about trying to get you to turn a phrase correctly and passionately. Let's take a look at the first part. The chromaticism is more technically involved, but the first part, this little love song, if you will, should be played very passionately. I think it's probably best to take a breath at the end of this measure, and then again at the end of this measure, but only after you play the decrescendo there. Then here, we don't want to take a breath. No breath right in your part. No breath. No breathe. You no breathe here, okay? Do not breathe there. And then at the end of measure 8, you want to take a breath again after this decrescendo. I really don't like the way this decrescendo is written either, because I don't think it's big enough. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Okay, then 9 and 10, measure 9 and 10, you're a massive crescendo leading into this fermata. Now, one of the problems with most often people don't play their fermatas long enough. I can't believe when I hear auditions how short some people come in and play their fermatas. Play it long, play it passionately, make it really something else. Milk it, milk the expression. In measure 10, at the beginning of measure 10, I would suggest you slow off moving into the fermata. I think that's kind of a good practice that most of your private teachers are probably telling you to do. And then after you make your statement at 10, we really should probably have some railroad tracks there for just a second of pause or a little bit of silence before you go on to this last part. And that, of course, should be played much slower and very passionately. And I might even slow the end of that measure down coming into here. And that last note, I just drew a circle around, not so good. This note is a suspension. It's kind of resisting moving to this note, which is do, which is the root of the key. We're in the key of D flat here, D flat concert. And so this is the tenor sax part we're looking at. That's why it says E flat. But we want to keep this crescendo going until we arrive at do, okay? And then only after we arrive at do, then do we want to play our decrescendo. Let's take a look at some more things about this. This measure right here, I would like to think of that measure almost as like a huge, like we're going to go up this huge mountain and down the other side. Make it soar. Ba-da-da-dee. Massive crescendo, massive decrescendo, and hold on to that longer than you think. Don't cut it off too soon. What else did I want to say about this particular exercise? I thought I'd give myself a little more room to work here. Same thing with this measure. As I just talked about in the last measure, we want to make that a massive crescendo, decrescendo, like this big, huge mountain. And then we want to think about pacing with this whole exercise. To me, this first thing, that's one statement, and then the next statement, that should be even bigger. Make a bigger deal out of that. Then we go back to the same idea in measures 5 and 6 as measures 1 and 2, except for a little bit different. And this time we get even bigger right here. Massive crescendo, decrescendo. And then here's the third time we're making this statement. Instead of dee-da-da, instead of this dee-da-da, we're going be-da-da-da-dee. Let me get rid of some of that ink there. This should be the biggest time. Many of you have heard me say, when you have a statement repeated 3 times, the first time it's sort of like your mom after dinner saying, I want you to clean your room tonight. The second time, it's an hour later and you haven't started cleaning your room. And she says, hey, I said, I want you to go clean your room tonight. She's a little more emphatic this time. And then at 10 o'clock at night, it's time to go to bed and you still haven't started cleaning your room and she's ticked off by now. And of course, the third time, how does she say it? Hey, I said to clean. She's very emphatic. And so think about that. I know it's a dumb analogy, but clean your freaking room by the time you get to measure 10. And then this last statement is kind of like wrapping it all up. And teasing you with this note, teasing to not go to do here too early. Anyway, this whole exercise is about playing passionately and trying to make it as expressive as you can. Take your time. Don't rush through it. Make it, feel it come from the heart. I hope this helps a little bit, okay? Enjoy playing this week's Etude.